Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Tori if you're new here, and I'm coming to you from outside. It is absolutely gorgeous and we are trying to soak up the day. So if you hear some car noises, I do apologize, but I wanted to bring you a different background today. Today we are going to be talking about some items that you can keep in your stockpile for bartering purposes. So we will go over why they are of value, how easy they truly are to stock, and I went for items that are shelf stable. So I'm super excited to share this list. It's something that I know a lot of us already have on hand and they are budget friendly. If you're new here, hi, hello, my name is Tori. I am a wife, newly stay-at-home mom to almost 3, and we make videos 3 to 4 times a week all about life here on a budget. We also have a lifestyle channel. I will link that in the description box if you want to head on over there and see our day-to-day on the homestead and more motherhood content. Of course, we would love it if you hit that subscribe button. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and let's get right into this list. So you all know I love talking about a sense of community and how you can contribute to that. That's truly what is going to get us through all of this nonsense that's happening in the world right now. I hear the word wicked a lot, and I feel like that. I feel like there's a lot of wickedness in this world, and I think it can be solved with positivity and community. Call me, I don't know, generic, but I just think that it's really something that we have lost. So bartering can work in everybody's favor. Bartering is essentially trading goods with one another in times of need. We have switched angles. The wind kept taking you, but that is a consequence of being outside. I don't mind. So bartering doesn't have to be in times of need. It can be happening right now. So I like to barter with my neighbors. I've been doing that since I was a little girl, and it could be something as basic as a cup of flour or maybe a few eggs, and you could trade your conversation. That's how I did it as a little girl. But of course, now as an adult, I always like to offer something for those items. And of course, you're not asking for anything money-wise. You are just heading over, seeing if your neighbor might have some sugar for, I don't know, a cup of milk or something like that. It can be so simple. It does not have to be food related, but in times of need, it could be really helpful to keep some things in your stockpile in case you will need it. And a lot of us have spoken about the currency situation in the United States right now. It's possible that this could impact us globally, but when it comes to currency, I think everyone should have some sort of backup. And I know it's a scary thought, but it's something to keep in the back of your mind. It's possible that the powers that be will establish some sort of global currency, and they can easily take that away from people that don't abide by their rules. So it's always good to keep something like that in the back of your mind. And I've compiled a list. Of course, there are many different items that could be on this list, so drop down your comments or ideas in the comment box. I know a lot of us read it and it would be super helpful. So I have a list of about 5 to 6 today. I'm not sure what I'm going to share. Sometimes I sit down with these videos and have the list in my head and then look at the time and see what I can cancel out. So number 1 on my list is going to be honey. It stores indefinitely. If you can get local raw honey, that would be very helpful to barter with. A lot of people cook with it. A lot of people make homeopathics with it, and some people even keep bees. So you can think about starting to keep your own bees. That would be a venture I'm interested in. I'm not sure if I am brave enough. We shall see when we get our forever land and home, but it's something to keep in the back of your mind if you cannot purchase local honey somewhere. Local raw honey is great for immune support, so I always keep it on hand for my family, and I find that it easily stores. So I'm hoping that truck isn't too loud right now. Honey is a great one. I've seen people use honey to infuse things and vice versa. You can infuse your own honey. So I think it's a great thing to keep on the shelf. And I barter with honey all the time just because I love to make baked goods. So you have to think about that, the ingredient itself, and perhaps something that you could make for your neighbor or your community member that you could trade with. Next on the list is going to be alcohol, and I think it's going to be a great bartering piece. In a way, it's sort of sad because a lot of people may just want alcohol to drink to get through the rough times, and I get that, but For me, I like to have 100 proof vodka on hand just to make herbal tinctures, and I have a video all about medicinal herbs and how I like to grow them in my garden and use them for different ailments my family may have. So alcohol is something that I'm always keeping on hand. I even have red wine and white wine down in my cellar just in case of a rainy day. Of course, the red wine is great to drink, but white wine you can actually clean with. Red wine you can cook with, and I think those are two things that get looked past. You can find a lot of red and white wine that is super inexpensive. Believe it or not, Whole Foods has their own brand. It is $2.99. It might be $3.99 now, but whenever I get a chance to head down to that store, I go and grab a case just so I can have it in my prepper pantry. You never know when a bottle of wine can be traded for something that you may need, and the possibilities are endless, honestly. So it doesn't just have to be liquor, it can be wine. I would not suggest storing beer. I said that in the last video, but some sort of liquor and wine is a great thing to have on the shelf to barter with and to make certain items with. I encourage everyone to try and look for those natural remedies when it comes to curing some of their ailments. You never know what could happen in an emergency situation, and you might not be able to get to the pharmacy. Not to mention, a lot of those pharmaceuticals aren't really helping the problem, they're continuing the problem. Next on the list is going to be salt, and again, that is going to store indefinitely on your shelf, and it's great to have. You can use salt for cooking, you can use salt for certain tinctures, you can use salt to bathe in to detoxify your body. A lot of people used to use salt when we didn't have electricity to store food and keep it preserved. So I've seen a lot of beef, I've seen fish being stored with salt. I have not ventured down that little journey yet, but it is something to think about. It could be a skill that you could share with your neighbor. So maybe in case you didn't have any salt to barter with, you could share a skill. And I wanted to put that on the list, but I think it can just be placed into each little category here. If you have a skill that might be marketable or helpful to a community member, perhaps you can sew a button really well, perhaps you can hunt, perhaps you can fish, maybe you can cook, you could start a fire. There's so many skills that we all have. We just have to look within ourselves, figure out a way to be confident in that skill and master it. I know I'm one to talk. I have many hobbies and I haven't mastered most of them, but I do enjoy a lot of different activities. So I'd like to say that in the event of emergency, I can offer my services in a variety of ways. So hopefully you can look within yourself and find a skill that might be helpful. It came under the category of salt because I don't know how to preserve food with salt when it comes to meats and things like that. And I'm hoping someone in the community knows how to, and maybe I could trade some of my chicken and duck eggs to learn about that skill for my home. Next on my list is going to be instant coffee. Most instant coffee that I have found is actually freeze-dried coffee, so it's supposed to store indefinitely. Does it taste the best? Of course not, but it is nice to have. I have it in my prepper pantry, readily available for myself and my family, but there are other people out there that may need that caffeine, or maybe it's just something in their routine like myself. I really enjoy a cup of coffee. Do I need it? No, but it might be one of those simple pleasures that could help you in the event of an emergency. I always give this example, but I always keep ingredients to make my kids' favorite cookies on hand, and then I have their favorite coloring books and colors. In the event of an emergency, it just might be helpful for them to have something that gives them a sense of peace. And I keep them in our bug out bags. I keep them on hand here. And I think it's important for everyone to store those simple pleasures. So instant coffee is very inexpensive. And again, it stores indefinitely, so it would be perfect to keep on your shelf. And last but not least, I say this a lot on the channel, it's going to be seed packets, and not just any seed packets. I suggest everyone store heirloom seed packets, and this one essentially could be free to you if you think about it. Of course, you have to purchase the heirloom seeds up front and garden them yourselves, but every year you can harvest some of those seeds and save some for yourself to plant for the next year, but you could save some and keep them preserved in some Mylar if you store them properly and share them with the community. And hopefully that would be a good bartering tool. I am always talking about living on a commune, and I would love to do that with some some like-minded friends back home at some point in my life just have a bunch of land, and we could all specialize in growing or preserving or hunting our own foods, and then we can bring it to the community, trade it, eat it, you know, the whole thing. I feel like it's very lost. It might be lost in the 60s and 70s, but it's something that I've always felt compelled to do. So maybe you will see that sometime in the future, but we'll need a whole lot of land because we do want to live semi-privately. So it is something to think about. Heirloom seeds can be a little bit more costly than regular seeds, but you have to think about the outcome. You get so much more when you plant that heirloom seed, and it's just fun to grow things. I say that on the channel a lot. I hear it a lot. I'm not good at gardening. I can't grow it. I'll tell you, I did not have any formal training. I used the wing it method, and we literally just wing it every single year. And what grows, grows. What doesn't, we're not going to get too discouraged. The only time I get discouraged is when insects and pests get to all of my food. But that is preventable if you keep on top of it, or maybe grow extra for an extra yield that year so no pests or insects get to that crop. Alrighty, my friends, that is going to wrap up my list. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know some things that you keep on hand to barter with. Let me know if this may be new information to you. Let me know your thoughts on the global currency conversation, and let's try and stay positive. As always, stay adventurous, stay creative. Bye, everyone.